What's going on, Perform24 family? Levi Jaeckel back with another video, back in Perform24 in Tampa, Florida. Today, we are going to be talking about practical strength training for people, men and women, over 40 years old. Video, we're gonna be talking macro and micro, okay? So we're gonna be talking about some broad spectrum things that you should be thinking about, and we're gonna be talking about some specific things that you should be thinking about. These are all things that I have learned and that I have applied with all of my clients that are over 40 years old. Okay, so if this is the first video that you've seen of mine, a little background information is that my roots are in performance training. So I kind of came up in the industry in like the athletic performance side of the spectrum. So we have like a professional athlete clientele that kind of comes and sees us throughout different parts of the year. They're kind of like a seasonal clientele. And then we work with adults all year round. And I've made a lot of content about the similarities between preparing an athlete for a competitive season and then just consistently training with those themes with a regular, just everyday adult, 40, 50, 60 years old. And I've created a lot of content about the similarity between those programming themes. Now, most of the time, the adults that we work with, you know, they're not looking to put on like a massive amount of muscle mass or lose like a massive amount of weight. You know, usually the weight that they want to lose is 20, 30, sometimes like 40 or 50 pounds. We do have a couple of, 50-pound weight loss journeys in here, but usually it's not like an exorbitant amount. Usually the people that we work with, they just want to kind of fix some old aches and pains and kind of get back to an active lifestyle, or they feel like their athletic performance and their active lifestyle is starting to decrease and they just want to extend that for as long as possible. So here are some things that you need to think about if you are over 40 and you want to have a long and healthy and feel good, high energy, high octane life. The first thing that I would tell you is that you need to be following some type of program. So first of all, as like a high performing adult, you've got a ton of stuff on your plate as it is. The last thing that you need to be doing is showing up to the gym and making up a workout on the spot. There's way too much going on in your head to then on a daily basis at the spur of the moment, shut everything off and create a sustainable or an effective workout. Follow a program, show up, follow the program, kind of don't think about what's on the sheet or what's on the app or whatever you're using. Just follow something that takes that responsibility off of your plate. Show up, do the work, check the box, move on. The reason you need to be following a program is that your strength movements or your primary movements are going to dictate your warm-ups. Okay, so following a program is kind of the macro thing that I mentioned at the beginning of the video. The micro thing that I would like to talk about is how your actual workouts should flow. Warm-ups are going to be extra important for 40, 50, 60-year-old people. Most of the warm-ups that I will program for my adult clients are total body mobility circuits. It's 4, 5, sometimes 6 exercises, working upper body, working lower body, working total body. The reason that I like to do total body mobility sequences is that most of the time the tightness that you feel is like a multi-dimensional problem, right? And the more movement, just general movement that we can throw at you, the more that those tissues as a whole are just going to start kind of expanding and kind of getting some elasticity back. So, I don't like to do like really, really specific warm-ups, like really targeted muscle group warm-ups. I like to do bigger total body exercises. I'll link a couple of my favorites in the description below. After you've gone through some type of like total body mobility warm-up, I do like to elevate your heart rate just a little bit. So some type of like short interval on a, on a cardio machine, whether that's a bike or a rower or an incline walk on a treadmill, something like that. We've got like slam balls that guys will throw around into the wall or just slam them on the ground. Some type of conditioning element just to pump your heart rate up a little bit more than average. It just helps kind of with the overall effectiveness of the workout. So kind of stretch everything out, get everything nice and warmed up, and then get your heart rate up, and then you're ready for your strength circuits. Now, following the themes from the warm-ups, I put in like an extra set, maybe even 2 extra sets of warm-up movements in any type of strength block. So I don't shy away from strength movements at all. I do use trap bar deadlifts all the time. We do use like lunge variations all the time. I don't do like a ton of true back squats with a barbell. I have like a safety squat bar that I'll use. I'm not afraid of those traditional strength movements. I think that they're pretty beneficial for you. What I would say though is that you keep most of your training as total body circuits. So you might have an upper body emphasis, but make sure to hit some lower body exercises in every workout. Or on the flip side, it might be a lower body emphasis, but get in a little bit of upper body in there as well. And the reason for that is that as you're working your upper body muscles, you know, they need blood flow. Your heart is pulling blood up into your upper body muscles. But then when you move into a lower body exercise, your lower body muscles are working, and so your cardiovascular system will push blood down into your lower body. So if you're pulling blood up and pushing blood down throughout the duration of a 50, 60, 70 minute workout, it gives you a whole kind of sneaky conditioning element on your cardiovascular system. And so it's a cardio stress without doing cardio. You know, you're going through these strength movements, but you've organized them in a way that you're getting a conditioning effect as well, because your cardio system is very important. After the strength blocks are done, I do like to throw a specific conditioning element into the workout. So this could be a longer interval than what you touched on in your warm-up. So instead of doing 2 or 3 rounds like you might have done in your warm-up, you're doing 8 or 10 or 12 rounds of an interval. A little bit of work, a little bit of rest. If you like to train intervals, the thing that I want you to think about is how quickly you can return your heart rate to neutral, right? So, you know, during the work ratio or during the work interval, your heart rate's going to spike, and I want to see that drop back to baseline as quickly as possible. The recovery of your heart rate is the measurement for your fitness. You should be able to recover quicker and quicker and quicker over time. If you're not recovering appropriately, stretch out your rest interval. So you can do a conditioning interval at the end, or you can just do like a little bit of steady state cardio. I don't think that that's a problem at all. Hit 1,000 meters on the rower, hit 2,000 meters on the rower, hit a quarter-mile incline walk, hit 1.5 miles on the assault bike or something like that. Some type of, you know, a little bit more duration cardiovascular challenge. If you have access to a sled, I love the sleds for my adult clients. There's a couple reasons for that. 1, it is a strength movement. 2, there is a conditioning element with the sled that is very hard to replicate with anything else. But 3, surprisingly, you don't get very sore from sled movement. There is a big scientific and muscular reason as to why you don't get super sore from the sled. That is for a different video, but the sled will crush you in the moment, but the next day you don't feel it that much, which is one of the reasons why I like the sled for older athletes. To recap this, make sure that you're following a program. Make sure that you give your tissues a little extra love in the warm-up. That is going to be the key to your longevity. On your strength movements, make sure that you are prepared for those strength movements. Do a set or 2 of extra warm-up sets. Don't jump into anything too crazy. Total body lifts are going to be very effective for you, and hit your cardio at the end. This is a bonus tip that just came to me off the top of my head. I can't believe that this wasn't in my notes, but expand your movement vocabulary. This is something that I think we do a great job of in here that I think you'll get a lot of benefit out of. So, movement vocabulary. Think about moving forward, moving backwards, moving laterally, using one leg, using 2 arms, pressing forward, pressing overhead, pulling backwards, pulling overhead, pulling with 1 arm, pulling across your body. I think that variety in adult programming is very, very beneficial. You don't need to bench, deadlift, and squat twice a week, every single week. I think the more movement that you can fit into a week, the better you're going to feel overall. Like I said, this is a topic that I really appreciate. If you're also interested in this topic, I'll leave a couple links in the description below so you can check out some of the other thoughts that I have on this topic. If you like the video and you feel compelled to give me a thumbs up, that does help me and I appreciate it. But as always, train hard, live full, and I'll see you in the next video.